Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder TV. Now, made a little bit of a mistake with the timing. I just changed the timing. The timing was supposed to be for 11 a.m., even though I'm a little bit late. And I set it for 11 p.m. tonight. Well, if you're watching. If you're not watching, you may be watching on a repeat. So I thought I'd kind of give my thoughts, you know, having some time to, reflect on the game, Arsenal versus Aston Villa, and also listening to some other podcasters, and also what was I doing? I think I was just watching a couple of movies late last night, and I thought, but what about this? And why didn't I say this? And why didn't I say that? Well, I'm going to be saying it now. I'm saying it now. So this is going to be my take on after the take of the instant post-game reaction we did yesterday with brother Isaac, and I thought about an Unai Emery lesson that I hope Mikel Arteta hasn't learned a lesson when we played against them in Villarreal, and when Villa beat us 1-0 with that goal by McGinn. You forgot about it, didn't you? I didn't forget about that. But this is my take on the game that happened against Aston Villa. So when I thought about this, actually, let me remove his face for a second. I love playing dominoes. Love playing the game. Love it. And if you and I were playing dominoes together, I imagine that I would beat you because I know how to play the game. Yes. And I know the signs and the patterns and reading the dominoes. So again, I can play domino. But what I can't play are, those games in casino, poker, blackjack, baccarat. I'm going to the casino. I'm thinking, do I have a winning hand? I wouldn't know because I don't know how to play blackjack or baccarat and poker face. I don't know how to play those games, so I wouldn't know whether I've got a winning hand or not. So the point I'm trying to get at is Mikel Arteta. It doesn't matter whether you've got world-class players, players who won the Champions League, like he has. They're one of the youngest teams still to be playing in the Premier League. Mikel Arteta doesn't know whether he has a winning hand or how to play a winning hand. Because I'm thinking, didn't Kai Havertz play in midfield? He scored like 5 goals, I believe, in the last 7 games. That's a winning hand, isn't it? It's a winning hand. Martin Odegaard, the maestro in the midfield, pulling the strings. The first half, at least, that pass he did there to Bukayo Saka, pass it through the line, so cool, calm, and collective. That's a winning hand, isn't it? So why do you want to change things? Why do you want to change things? It's weird, to say the least. So now I can go back to Mikel Arteta's image here. Can I? This is down to Mikel Arteta. You've got a winning formula. You've got the players playing you want them to play. But then you want to overthink things. Try and, how can I say this? Try and trick Unai Emery, who's vastly more experienced than yourself. It's just strange. I mean, it's like he's trying to shoot himself in the foot. It's weird. This is down to Mikel Arteta. The players can be in certain positions. You keep them in the positions. You've got to win in formula. But when you start to tinker with that formula, trying to outsmart Unai Emery, this is the result that you get. We know Gabriel Jesus has been misfiring. He's been coming off the bench. Not in the best of forms, but then you start him. Trossard, as much as I said this actually beginning of the season, if you got Trossard, who, again, class player, start him. But hang on a minute, he's coming off the bench, he's scoring goals, keep him on the bench to have a plan B. All right, you start him. Now you look at the bench, you make the substitution at the wrong time. Panic mode sets in. This is down to Mikel Arteta. And I'm saying this again for the 1000th time, I'm his biggest critic. But with the criticism does not mean I'm saying, listen, I want Mikel Arteta out. That is going to be down to the board. That's not down to me or Canon 4 TV, unless they're listening. They never listen to us. That's down to the manager. You're tinkering, you're changing things, and you make the substitutions. What happened to Thomas Partey? What happened to Thomas Partey? And for me, I know I did say this on the show last night with Brother Isaac. I'm looking at this frame here. Just before Ollie Watkins scores a goal, and there was a deflection off Smith Rowe's, I think it was his right foot, his left foot, I don't remember. But there was a deflection which kind of made the ball loop a little bit more. But why was Emil Smith Rowe as the last line of defense? This is what I can't understand that. Last line defense, you want to see, a Gabriel Magalhães or a William Saliba. These are the CBs should have been in the frame here, not an Emil Smith Rowe. When I used to play football, it was either myself, with it's a set piece or a corner, just in case that they break out. There's on the break. I was a unique defender. I was very, very fast, strong in the air, very, very hard in the tackle. So you leave one of your centre backs back in case there's a break. So why is it we've got Emil Smith Rowe there as person running back with Ollie Watkins? Smith Rowe did, put a bit of speed in his feet there. But why was he in the last line defense? Why are we so far up and we didn't leave one defender back? For me, this is just absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. So this is at Mikel Arteta's feet or foot or whatever you want to say there. The other thing I want to say is, and I've watching another platform, ESPN Sports, late last night and this morning. When you have a winning formula, whether the player is playing out of position, like Kiyovo has been playing left back, we've got Zinchenko playing left back. He's not a left back; he's a wing back. But you're getting a tune out of these players, and that winning formula has got you 10 wins out of 11 games. You stick with that formula. You don't change it, do you? But if you're starting to have doubts, you're coming up against Aston Villa team, managed by Unai Emery, vastly more experience. And now you're thinking about tinkering, or maybe I'll put Kai Havertz. I know he's been scoring goals, up front, but let me put him back in midfield. And those doubts come into your mind. Surely, if you have a strong number two, or your coaching staff actually says, you know what, boss, you're about to make a mistake. Why not keep to the winning formula? Keep to the one, because that formula has got us those 10 wins in the last 11 games. So, Gaffer, stick to that formula. Do not change it. And I question whether there are those characters in the backroom staff that can have a word with Mikel Arteta. And if it means they fall out, then they fall out. But at least the number two has said what he has to said, just to kind of keep Mikel Arteta back on track and say, you know what, actually you're right. We're not going to tinker, because that formula has won us, those last 10 games, 10 games in the last 11. There isn't that character there, is there? There's not that character there that can say, oi, Mikel, no, don't tinker. Keep Kai Havertz up front, because you scored 5 goals in the last 7 games. Don't start Gabriel Jesus, having come off the bench. Don't start Trossard, having come off the bench. This should be the start. And actually, you're going to make some changes. Make them at the right time, not at the wrong time. There are not those characters there. If there were those characters, we would have seen this. What was it? It was a defeat at home, again, at a critical time in the season. No, I'm not about to say that Arsenal are bottling it. We'll find out at the end of the season. But saying that, I've said Man City will win the Premier League. There is a question mark whether they'll win the Champions League, 2 seasons, the second season on the trot now. But I'm looking at Mikel Arteta. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Much like his former master. Was a couple of seasons ago when, Pep, I don't know what he did. He kind of changed things up to try and fool the opposition, and then they got knocked out of the Champions League, didn't they? The season before last. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, man. Doesn't fall far from the tree. This is firmly at Mikel Arteta's he has the responsibility. Again, I go back to this game, I don't know how to play Baccarat or Blackjack, but I sure know how to play dominoes. I know when I've got a winning hand. I know when I have a winning hand, but those other casino games, I wouldn't know whether I've got a winning hand or not. Mikel Arteta, you've had a winning hand for the last 11 games. Why change it? Why self-destruct? It's just weird. Weird, strange, to say the least. Anyway, it is a surprise live show because I'm actually not at work. I'll be back at work tomorrow, so this is it. But I will be doing an easy talk on Friday and an instant post-game reaction on Wednesday because we are playing away from home in the Champions League at the Allianz. And that's going to be an interesting one, even more so the easy talk. I mean, the easy talk might be blood on the dance floor. There might just be blood on the dance floor. But critical moments in this season for Arsenal. Let's see where Arsenal ends up at the end of the season. But for me, myself, and we're not going to win the Champions League, and we are not definitely going to win the Premier League. Again, what's 21 seasons now? The longest stretch that we haven't won the league. The longest. Oh, and just one more thing as well. For all those people who keep saying that Unai Emery, he's a second-tier type manager, yeah, he won't win you major honours. He's won major honours. And he's beaten us 4 times. 4 times. Anyhow. Will I be back later on? I might be back later on this evening. I've got some bits and pieces. I need to do some DIY. I've got to pay some bills. And so we'll see. But if I am back later on this evening, you won't know if you don't subscribe. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to. But in order for you to know whether we are live, I guess you had to subscribe. But you don't have to. Anyhow, this has been Cannon Fodder TV, the channel apparently for Arsenal fans all over this world.